How are we doing, guys? Welcome to today's session. I'm going to give it a moment for everybody to join. I appreciate I'm a few minutes late, so we might have some people who are also a few minutes late joining. So I'm going to give everybody a moment to join before we jump into anything today. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Today's going to be much more chilled than usual anyway. It's kind of the celebration of a fantastic year for myself and for Darwinex, and hopefully for all you guys who are watching this live stream as well. You know, we've got how many weeks? 2 weeks left until the end of the year. It's kind of time to step up, make them count. And, you know, if you've stopped trading for the year like I have, you know, reflect on what you've done this year, reflect on what you've achieved, what could have gone better, and then come into 2026 with that in mind. You know, improvements and moving up the ladder only. We want to learn from every lesson that we kind of encountered this year. Every problem, every issue that we face, we want to, you know, treat it as a lesson, not treat it as a hurdle moving forward, and use that to kind of power our growth as traders for the future. Welcome, guys. Welcome. I apologize for being a few minutes late today. I have been setting up a dedicated server for the guys who come to these sessions regularly. You'll know that last week I was talking about setting up a Hetzner server, sorry. And I decided to take the plunge this morning. I think it was this morning was when I set it up. And the backstory as to why I set this up, and please, this was kind of an end of year lesson for me. So continuing with the topic of, you know, closing down for 2025 and taking everything that we've learned this year and kind of implementing it for next year. I had a very serious lesson yesterday. I come into my office, as you can see, my office a la Kieran's bedroom. I come to my setup yesterday. I turned my PC on, a PC that I've had for 4.5 years now. It's I wouldn't say super powerful, but it's a very decent PC. You know, probably could do with a couple of upgrades now. So 2026, I'm going to upgrade the graphics card, the RAM, a few different processing parts of it. Maybe get a new case as well, because I feel like my case is a little bit old and dated. I don't know why I'm rambling on about that. But anyway, I turned on my PC yesterday and it wouldn't start. And I just had a blue screen. And because I've got 4 screens, my whole bedroom was like lit up with this blue glow. And basically something had corrupted on the PC. Now, I don't know what it was. I still couldn't figure it out. But I was essentially stuck in this loop where I was trying every troubleshooting mechanism that the PC was giving to me. And everything was just caught in this loop and sending me back to the start. So no matter what I did, I was just stuck in this blue screen of death. Eventually, after scouring the internet and forums and like things like Reddit, I'm not a PC buff by any means. I have a semi-good PC, but I am not a specialist in that area. So I did a lot of reading on forums with people who know a lot more than I do. How are you doing, boss lady? Hope you're all good. But I did a lot of reading from people who have more knowledge on the subject than I do, and they all just essentially said I needed to reset the PC to factory settings and clear everything off there. Now, I did manage to save files. So when I did that, it essentially wiped the PC, but kept my hard drives intact. So anything that was saved from a file perspective or data perspective, it's still there, which sounds okay, right? And I thought, okay, well, it's not too bad. I can just set up the apps throughout the day. It is what it is. Which I did do yesterday, and it took me all day pretty much to get my PC back to a working state with all the apps downloaded and everything that I have on there. And I'm still not complete on that, but it is what it is. Now, the issue with that is my MetaTraders were deleted as part of the reset process. So when I re-downloaded MetaTraders, the files were corrupt because it could no longer find the specific path for the strategy files. So I went into panic mode thinking I'd lost all of the strategies behind XAQP, remembering that I had a VPS anyway. So I always have a backup of those strategies, but I don't like a single point of failure. So when my PC had wiped everything, I knew that my VPS was now a single point of failure, because if anything happened with that, you know, I would lose basically XAQP for life. And it'd take me a lot of work and a lot of time to get it back to where it was. Now, with that in mind, I have spent a lot of time over the past 2 days, triple backing up, quadruple backing up, you know, all of my data, all of my files, all of my strategy files as I can. I've got a memory stick with all my strategy data on. I have now set up a Hetzner server, and I'm migrating from FXVM to Hetzner. And I've also backed up my hard drive in Google Drive as well. So I kind of have this, I don't have a single point of failure anymore. But the point being is that could have been something that would have ruined my whole year. That you know, if that situation had been any worse than it was, that could have ruined my whole year. If I had a single point of failure, for example, let's say I wasn't using a VPS and I was running all the strategies from my own PC. If my own PC had corrupted, even though I would have kept a load of you know, my files, my data, I still would have removed MetaTrader. Therefore, the path to my strategy files would have been broken. Therefore, I would have lost them. And it was a bit of a realization to be like, okay, next year, you need to step up the professionalism and you need to ensure that this kind of thing cannot set you back. I've escaped this fairly unscathed and fairly lucky from that regard, but there's things that I could be putting in place to preemptively stop this from happening moving forward. Hence why I've backed everything up 3 or 4 times. Now, Hetzner server has literally, and I kid you not, I started it this morning about 7:30, and I only finished 5 minutes before we jumped on this live stream. It's been a nightmare. Like I say, I know my way around PCs. I can code a little bit. I'm not a sophisticated software engineer, so it's took me all day to get the server set up. But I finally got my server set up. I've got Windows installed. So I basically bought a separate key because it costs like £25 a month at Hetzner to install Windows, whereas you can get a key online for like £10 and just install it yourself, which is what took me so long. But I finally got that set up. So my FXVM server, for example, is, I think it's 2 GB of RAM. So it's really slow. All I have on there is 4 MetaTrader terminals, 2 of which have one chart, which is a trade copy receiver chart. And it's really, really slow. So the point that I'm trying to get into next year in being more professional, as I say, is having the best, investing into the resources so that the product that I can distribute, which is my trading, is better for anybody receiving that product, whether it's my own capital, whether it's investors through Darwinex, whether it's, I don't know, prop firms. Like I'm trying to build my infrastructure so it's the most robust. FXVM with the plan that I'm on now just won't cut it. I think Hetzner, I paid about €79 for the initial setup fee, and it's like €50 a month. And Windows key was like £10. So all in all, it's like £100 setup, I would say, with like a 45 or £50 a month fee, which is good. It's not expensive by any means. But that has 64 GB of RAM. So I'm literally going from a server that has 2 GB of RAM to a dedicated server for me that has 64 GB of RAM. It's super solid. It's super fast. I might even upgrade it in the future, because what I'm planning to do is migrate my strategy quant license over to this PC so that I can run that 24/7 in the background. So for the guys who know strategy quant, will know that you can set up your data banks to take X amount of strategies in, or you can set up custom projects to basically run 24/7 in the background. That's what I'm going to do now, because I'm bound to my PC. If my PC turns off, my strategy quant won't run. Similar to if you shut down your PC, your MetaTrader's not going to execute any EA trades, right? Your algorithms are going to go offline. So not only will I be using it for MetaTrader, I'm also going to be using it for strategy quant, which is why I needed a bit more power. The only thing I need to do now, and this is getting a little bit too technical, is I need to channel the cores so that the PC, strategy quant doesn't eat up all the processing power on the PC, essentially, in like layman's terms. Because the problem with strategy quant is it's a bit of a behemoth. So the more you feed it in terms of PC power or processing power, the more it's going to eat. So if you give it 2 GB of RAM, it's going to eat that up straight away. If you give it 120 GB of RAM, it's also going to eat that up. So yeah, there's a bit of a end of year lesson that I've had. Come out relatively unscathed. I finished the year on a high point, so I wanted to shut down my strategies this week so that I can have a week or two where I'm not executing through Christmas for 2 reasons. One, I don't want to get chopped around in spread. I don't want to get chopped around in low liquidity conditions where spread might be wider than normal. There might be some slippage. There's probably just going to be a little bit of chop and not much movement. So I don't really feel like I'm missing it out on anything by taking a step back. And I'd rather just be able to relax for that period. Like, I've got young children. I'd rather take Christmas off. There's been a few people who've asked me, why do you not just run them through Christmas? And to be completely honest, it's just a personal preference. I would rather enjoy my Christmas and not worry about being slipped on a trade when I'm out at the with the kids or with the family. I want to be able to have peace of mind. So I will probably start trading again on what's the date? Is it the 5th of January? I think is the Monday. That's probably when I'll turn everything back on for XAQB. Finish the year on a high, done 36% since April. December has been a great month again, and I just decided let's call it a month and let's come back in January. So yeah, Quantum Ghost says plus SQX needs a lot of core, so you need a good CPU. Exactly. SQX is like this weird dynamic software, right? That it will just adapt to the power that you give it. So it's not like it needs X. It's not like it needs X power to run. It's like whatever power you give it, it will just keep eating it up and getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and like generating strategies faster, retesting them faster, and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's going to be my Christmas task, is migrating all of my systems over from FX VM server across to my Hetzner server, which is, oh God, it's just so much better. It's like, it's instant. So I've got it open on one of my screens now. When I move my mouse across, it just instantly goes across. Whereas my FX VM, there was like a noticeable lag, which isn't great, especially if you're running automated systems. You need to be able to act fast. If something blows up or something happens, you need to be able to get in, get stuck in and get involved. But yeah, how are we doing, guys? I appreciate, whilst I've been rambling on there, quite a few people have joined. Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the final stream of 2025. So I won't be streaming next week because I'm off with the kids. I think I have the kids on Monday and Tuesday, which will be fun. Nothing to worry about, nothing to stress about. Everything's covered. Trading's done. So yeah, this is going to be the final stream of 2025. And when we're back, I will be in DarwinIA Gold, and Tail will be in DarwinIA Gold as well. I'm sure there's a few other people who are ticking over to Gold this month as well. We've got Tails. Is it WXBY? Choose WXBY. Yeah, so Tail 120. He's just ticked over. I'm hoping he's closed down his strategies too. Because he's just ticked over the requirements for Gold. So he's got the same length of record as me, 8 months. And yeah, just hit over 20% return. So fantastic work there, dude. Let's take a look at XXBI as well. Boss lady, I've traded Gold all year. Love that. Gold's been, if you've been long and strong all year, like, you'd have made a killing. Gold, in fact, Gold was one of my best assets for at least the first few months of XAQB. I ended up removing the strategies that I had running on it in the beginning, just because they were less robust than some of the other ones that I had. But I just went through a super lucky streak at the beginning, and it just kept long. It just kept long in Gold above all-time highs, and just kept breaking out, and I was just buying every single high. XXBI. So XXBI will go into Gold in February because I think it's 7 months old. Yeah, Gold's been. In fact, there's a couple of realizations that I've had this year. I think I spoke about this on Tuesday when we did the stream. Is there's so many misconceptions about strategies and the way that the market works and I would say performs, but the way the market moves, right? So I saw a clip before, and it was somebody, I can't remember who it was, talking about breakout strategies and how it's the one strategy that doesn't work. Okay, saying, what's the one strategy that will never work, and it's breakouts. For me personally, breakout systems are one of, if not the best strategy to perform consistently year after year. Now, of course, there's contingencies to that, like a range bound year. Yes, of course, the breakouts aren't going to be as profitable. It's probably going to get chopped about a bit. You might have a down month, down quarter, down year. Yes, that's fine. However, this is a concept I haven't spoken about in a long time, but I used to, especially when I was a discretionary trader, I used to split my variables into two different categories. So I had constant variables and non-constant variables. So a constant variable that was something that you could measure consistently, knowing ahead of time that that variable is going to repeat. So certain things like time of day, you know that there's going to be a 12 p.m. every single day for the rest of time, or at least while we measure time in the way that we do. Friday, you know there's going to be a Friday next week, you know there's going to be a Friday the week after, and so on and so forth. News events, with the exception of government shutdown, we know that NFP comes out on the first Friday of every given month, right? So that's a repeatable pattern that we know ahead of time. And all the other variables kind of don't matter in that sense. Now, a non-constant variable is something like price. So the way I explain this is, let's say you have a price point of $100,000 on Bitcoin, for example. Now, take two different time periods. So we're looking at two different variables here. So we're looking at, you know, maybe March, when Bitcoin breaks 100K for the first time and everyone's euphoric. It's going to the moon, yada, yada, yada. It's like the best thing since sliced bread. 2 months later, Bitcoin hits 100K again. Okay, let's say absolutely tanks through and it gets to 100K. All of a sudden, the market participant energy and perspective is completely different, but the variable is the same. The variable of the price point of $100,000, which is the, you know, a price point on a chart, or we could even use like a candlestick formation, like size of a candle. It could be completely the same, but because of the other variables, they mean completely different things. So the price point is 100K. Over here, everybody's euphoric. Yeah, it's going to the moon. Everyone's buying, yada, yada, yada. Over here, 2 months later, all of the other variables are completely different, but the price point remains static. Now, it's very difficult, in my opinion, to build a strategy around non-constant variables because it's hard to predict ahead of time what is going to be happening at that specific point in time because all of the other variables are completely different. I probably made that sound a lot more complex than it should have been. But going back to my point about breakout strategies is, you know, any period of time, there is a high and a low, which is the highest high and highest low on a chart since X amount of bars or X amount of periods. And that will always be broken at some point. It will always happen. Otherwise, the chart is just trading like this forever. And that's just not how markets work. So breakouts of highs and lows can be easily tested because the variables all remain the same. It's the highest point between here and here. It's the lowest point between here and here. We haven't got to worry about it being so convoluted, you know, being, oh, there's an order block here, but it means nothing because there wasn't a liquidity sweep before. There's no fair value gap. All of these different things, all of these concepts are all non-constants because a fair value gap here might mean something different to a fair value gap up here, which makes no sense anyway. Fair value, like, you know, talking rubbish. But anyway, those non-constant variables mean completely different things no matter where they are in the chart. And it's very difficult to build a strategy around that. I mean, I'm going on a bit of a rant here, but I think it's important because I held all these misconceptions, and I think a lot of people do too, in that this type of strategy doesn't work, or that is the only way to trade, or this doesn't work, etc. Another one that I've realized in the past week or so is I've been building a load of strategies around the Ichimoku cloud, and it's one of the most robust indicators, concepts, ideas that I've been building around, period. Like, it spits out so many different strategies that work and are robust and aren't overfitted. I mean, I put a lot of checks in to make sure strategies aren't overfit, which you'll never really know until you're trading them live anyway. But there's things that you can do beforehand to kind of eliminate as much of a chance as possible of the systems being overfit. But I've been pleasantly surprised at how solid Ichimoku is as far as strategies go. I think every time I've run a test, I've at least walked away with one or two systems to go and test live, which I use this Darwin for for all my live testing. LVFZ. So this is the account I run all my test strategies on. I'll see if I've got it open here. So you can see this is the MetaTrader for it. It's very yen heavy at the minute. CAD yen, euro dollar, pound yen, pound dollar, euro yen pending orders. It's very yen heavy, but that's just because I find building on yen a lot easier than anything else. Close them down. Here's a strategy I tested earlier. Absolute rubbish. That's just part of a check of building a strategy for something else. But yeah, the point is, again, as I say, you never know what systems are going to work, what systems are going to perform. I actually am always pleasantly surprised. The ones that I think are going to work generally don't, and the strategies that I think have no chance of surviving generally outperform all the others. Again, like the misconceptions I had with breakout strategies. I always thought, I was always told actually. So let me bring up a chart here, and it sticks in my head because this was at the very beginning of like my trading journey. Let me find an example. Okay, so we'll use this as an example. And yes, I am cherry picking it, but I'm cherry picking it to show you what I mean. So I was always taught that, you know, you have these swing points, and the only people who are buying above this swing point around here are people who are about to get shafted, right? The people who are about to get smoked. So I've always had this misconception, like you can't be buying around highs, you can't be selling around lows. And yes, it's true to a degree. You will get a worse entry. For example, here, of course, you're better to buy the pullback than you are the breakout. However, you don't know that that system is valid until it's broken out. But is the buyer here the sucker, or is it the seller who's the sucker? Is it the seller who's selling up here, selling over here, selling over here? Are they the sucker? Because when this broke out, it exploded. It also retested and exploded again. So what I'm trying to say with this, I guess what I'm trying to say, I'm just rambling, to be honest. So last stream of the year, you know, I'm tired. It's been a long year. It's been a good year, but it's been a long year. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't take anyone's word for something, even mine. You know, test things for yourself. Understand that when somebody says something as fact in this game, when somebody says, oh, this always happens, this has to happen, this works, that doesn't work, yada, 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 always know that they're likely full of BS, unless they can bring proof to you and say, you know, this doesn't work because of X, Y, Z. Here's my statistics, here's my proof, and evidence that what I'm saying is true. But no, question everything. Understand that like this pattern is repeatable, because we can go, well, there's a high or low at any given time, and we just trade the break of that. Anyway, I've loaded TradingView up like 5 times this year. I never use it anymore. I think another goal of mine going into next year is I'm going to start actively investing a little bit more. The main reason is like I've neglected it for years to focus on trading, and I now have a way to invest into my own trading through Darwinex when I'm open into gold next year. But the majority of that will come from my performance fees. So performance fees I get paid through Darwinex, I'll just move across to XAQP, reinvest them in there. But something that I've shied away from pretty much forever is the stock market. And that's something that I do want to get into a little bit more next year. I'm not going to rush into it, because it's not that I don't know enough, but I need to get a feel for where we are in kind of the current macro cycle. Are we ready to start DCAing in and buying these tech companies, or is it a bubble? I just don't know. But it's something that I want to give more thought to, you know, going into next year. But yeah, I am just rambling on now because I don't really have any topic or agenda to stream about today. I just thought it'd be fun to come on and kind of have one last blast. But I'm a little bit disappointed Tail isn't here yet, because he's gonna have to wait another few weeks to see me come back on. But how we doing, guys? There's quite a few people in the session now. Although it's quite quiet in the chat, which is strange. Usually it's quite busy, especially by this point. I do also appreciate, though, it is the 18th. I keep forgetting how far into December we are. It's like it's crept up on us quick time, hasn't it? It's already the 18th of December. Like it's Christmas next week. You know, so I'm presuming a lot of people are already in Christmas shutdown. You know, whether they've finished work or, you know, spending time with family now. That's probably why we're a little bit quieter than usual. But yeah, I'm excited for the holidays. I haven't had time off in a long time, and also time away from trading. So it's kind of cool to have a couple of weeks where I can just sit back and do nothing, especially after how intense this year has been. Risk 1%. How we doing, brother? Hope you're all good. Just closed gold longs, done for the year. Not the best end, but we move on to 2026. Exactly. I said at the beginning of this session, you know, any failures, mistakes, or things that you've done this year, just use them as lessons and channel them so that you can improve on whatever happened going into 2026. I think 2026 is going to be a massive year for a lot of people. There's a lot of people climbing the ranks at Darwin and doing good things. And I think we've got quite a few years left of real good opportunity before the market gets taken over by AI and quantum computing and stuff like that. We've got a good few years, so we've got to take this opportunity while we have it. When quantum computing is I mean, I don't know enough about it, but when it's out, I think we're all cooked from a market perspective. You watch, we'll just get wiped by computers that can think faster than us. Oh, I'm not logged in, am I? I can't remember what my login is. I don't know. I'm still not logged into everything from when my PC corrupted yesterday, which is yeah, it's not fun. But yeah. I'm gonna see. I'll see if I even shared it in Discord. No. I don't know. Okay, anyway, guys, I feel like I'm already in the Christmas spirit. Like, I feel like I've had 10 mulled wines, even though I mean, I hate mulled wine. I don't know who would drink that. But yeah, I think the last thing, or the thing that I'm going to leave you guys with, because I'm going to call it an end to the session soon. I think the last thing that I want to leave you guys with is just, no matter whether 2025 has been a good year, a bad year, a great year, an awful year, every time that, you know, if the clock strikes midnight on New Year's Day or New Year's Eve, going into New Year's Day, you have an opportunity there to wipe the slate clean, to move forward. Your stats refresh for the year, for the quarter, for the month. It's a new start, right? And I know it's cliched, like the whole New Year's resolution, but you can channel that to become, and this goes for anything in life. Like if there's something that you've been doing and you know you're conscious of it that's not helping you, or something that's holding you back, it's a perfect opportunity where you go, well, you know, this time period, the next year, if I work on this for the next year, I'm going to be a completely different person by the end of it, or a completely different trader. I'm kind of the perfect example of this, because I started learning how to build multi-strat portfolios at the back end of last year. And now look at what I have. Like, if you'd have told me 12 months ago that XAQP would look like this, I'd have probably fainted. You know, I'd have fell over. I wouldn't have known what to say. But it's just a year of consistently, every day, showing up, doing the right things, getting rid of old, you know, things that hold you back, and just focusing on moving forward and focusing on the right things. And, you know, a year is a very, very long time. It's short, but it's a very long time. And you can do so much in a year. So that's my message I'm going to leave you with for the final stream of 2025. Guys, I'm going to call it an end to a session here. So I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Enjoy your holidays off with your friends, your families. Eat as much Christmas food as you possibly can. And don't worry about the market. The market will be here in 2026. Take a couple of weeks, enjoy it, relax, let those gray hairs like do their thing. You know, there's no point stressing over this period. Take a step back and then come back stronger in 2026. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys, streaming for the whole of this year, and we're going to do it again next year. Oh, just had a question come through, so I'll answer this before we go. Captain FX 360 says, hey, does silver take into account your max DD from the past 6 months only? Can you explain the benefits of this? Yes, it does. So your max drawdown will always stay fixed as like the record, as far as the record goes. But for DarwinIA, our capital allocation program, it does only take this last 6 months worth of drawdown into account. The reason being is we want to keep traders motivated, because the end goal is getting included in the index and finding investors. So we kind of take a 6 month snapshot of your performance to provide you with capital allocations. Tan, welcome, dude. Unfortunately, we couldn't get an end to the session. I was just signing it off, but a question come through. So I'm going to continue the sign off. I can't remember where I was with it, but I hope you all have. Yes, exactly that. We've had people who've been in like 20 or 30% drawdowns, and then they've worked out of it, and they've been like #1 in DarwinIA Silver because it only takes their past 6 months. So yeah, don't worry about that. But guys, I hope you all have a wonderful Christmas time. Enjoy it, relax, put your feet up. Don't trade. Don't try and trade on Boxing Day. I think the markets are closed Boxing Day. But, you know, come back in January refreshed and ready to smash another year. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you later.